Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Monday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Fun night last night at the LSU baseball first pitch banquet. It was at the Crown Plaza in Baton Rouge, and my understanding is they moved it there this year. It was at LeBear's a year ago. They moved it to Crown Plaza because LeBear's sold out very quickly and they needed more space, so they moved it to Crown Plaza, which is the largest sort of gathering space in town. So it was there were 1,050 people, 1,050 people there last night for LSU baseball first pitch banquet, which is kind of crazy considering there's going to be a lot of places in this country that don't draw, 1,050 people for games, let alone a banquet before the season. And I was just thinking, man, guys like Thatcher Hurd, who came over from UCLA, or I was Tommy White from NC State, and Skeens coming in from Air Force. Those guys had to have been blown away because they probably never played in front of that many people, let alone seen that many people at a preseason banquet. It was crazy. It was a great night, though. Some observations. Paul Skeens is bigger even than I thought he was. Big dude. So is Thatcher Hurd. I saw Thatcher Hurd talking to Ben McDonald. And, Ben's 6'7", and Thatcher was almost eye to eye with him. He's a big old dude. So that, Jay Johnson did say at one point that, Paul Skeens, is going to be competing with Dylan to go 1-1 for first pick, first round in the draft. Pretty cool night, man. Pretty cool night at LSU baseball first pitch banquet. But since I was at first pitch banquet, I did not watch Niners Cowboys. Banquet started at 6:00, so sounded like a barn burner. But I did watch the Bengals. So Bengals advanced, total domination. Nothing flukish in any way about what the Bengals did to the Buffalo Bills. And, I think it would have been Romo who made a really good point on the broadcast. Who said, look, even though the Bengals are replacing 3 offensive linemen, typically your backup linemen are still like really big dudes so they can run block, which makes a lot of sense, right? You're big, you're strong, you're physical, you're an NFL lineman, you can get in people's pads and push people. The difference, with your elite starters and backups really is pass blocking. It's picking up stunts. It's the physical ability, nimbleness. It's about a pass block, but the Bengals just ran over the Buffalo Bills. 27-10 was that score. And now they go to Kansas City and take on an injured Patrick Mahomes, who, how mobile is he going to be? How able is he going to be to move the ball? But man, the rushing stats yesterday blew me away. Cincinnati 172 on the ground, 34 for 172. Bills 19 rushes for just 63 yards. A big part of that they were down that for the football, but man, what a performance by Cincinnati. And then the Pels lost again last night. It wasn't last night, it was yesterday afternoon. They were playing at the same time the Bengals and the Bills were. So Pels lose again. And I said it on Friday, said it yesterday, say it again. I think Brandon Ingram is going to play Tuesday against Denver. And we got the news yesterday that he did practice 5-on-5, and until you practice 5-on-5, you can't play. So he'd been doing more and more, and he practiced 5-on-5. So provided that all went well, I think he is going to play on Tuesday. And they need him. I mean, it's not panic time. I know it's not fun to watch them lose. But like, look at a team like the Suns, for example, who are all the way down in 7th place, as a result of, losing Devin Booker and some of their injuries. New Orleans is still 4th. You're 4th. Like, you'd still be hosting an opening round playoff game, series. You still have home court advantage on an opening round playoff series. So, let's not get so out of our senses. You're going to get healthy. You're going to get Zion back. You're going to get BI back. You're going to get Herb back. You're going to be whole again, and you're still only in 4th place. So, now the crazy thing is you're 3 games removed from being out of the play-in. So you're 7 games out, and you're in the 4th place. But OKC is 11th, and they're 10 games out. So the West is a gigantic logjam. And you're okay now, but you got to get these guys back. Okay, well, let's say some good mornings here. See what's going on with y'all. Please smash that like button. If you're on YouTube, Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Dad, good morning. Ryan, Amanda, Guidry, Glenn, Lori, good morning. After watching Bengals Bills, I want to be cool like Joe. Glenn, I think that ship has sailed on most of us. That ship sailed on most of us when we came out the womb. I think a lot of what Joe Burrow's got going for him are God-given intangibles. He's got the physical ability, right? But the intangibles he has, I don't think those are learned. I think those were given. Kelly Presley, good morning. How's Erica? Thanks for asking. She's not doing great. She's just really nauseous. She had to stop taking her antibiotic. It was making her that sick. So, for those that Erica had strep throat, and so she was feeling badly, and the strep throat symptoms are gone, but the antibiotic she's taking was making her really nauseous. And they say, like, you can't stop taking your antibiotic with strep because it'll come back. And I was like, that's a risk you have to take, or you just have to get on a different antibiotic, because that one was just, yeah. But thank you for asking. Kelly Groves, Truax, good morning. Blake Betts, good morning. Let's see. I understand the LSU basketball situation. I believe McMahon is a great coach. My question, do you think this lingering punishment will mess up recruiting? I want to just get the punishment over with so we can start to build our team back to where it was. Yeah, that's a great question, Blake. And, I think LSU, again, this is just my guess. I'm just looking at precedent, like what Cincinnati got, what the other programs who've already had their punishments handed down as a result of the FBI investigation of college basketball and stuff. I think you're going to get a postseason ban, at least a year, which please let it be this year. And you're probably going to get scholarship restrictions, which means if you're down a couple scholarships, it just means you have to be more diligent in who you take, and you got to hit on the players you do. Most teams have a rotation that include 8 guys. So you can have 13 scholarship players, but you're only playing 8. It means 5 guys on your roster, scholarship players, aren't really part of your rotation. So you can win with scholarship restrictions as long as you hit on the players you got. It's a good question. Deborah Coward, Teresa Michelle, good morning. Brian Penton, Tavanka De Silva, good morning from Sri Lanka. Pat Houston, good morning. Trivia Carter, Wendell Norman, Brian Wynn. How about Joey being the Bengals in the snow yesterday? Yeah, man. The first play of the game, the snow was coming down, and you're wondering, might that affect things. First play of the game, Burrow hit Jamar on the left side for like 6-7 yards. I was like, oh, it's going to be one of those days. They're out to prove like they're not bothered at all by this weather. And then he had a few passes on that drive where he dropped back, stepped up under pressure, and lobbed it over the middle. It was very reminiscent of the 3rd and 17 play, how it played out. 6 plays, they were in the end zone, and at that point, it's like, oh, it's going to be one of those days. So he's incredible, man. We're watching the birth of the guy that's going to dominate the league. We're watching the Brady Manning rivalry, with Burrow and Mahomes, and it's not to say Josh Allen isn't great. Just like Phillip Rivers, was a great quarterback, and maybe Allen will get them over the hump. But boy, oh boy, Burrow sure looks like he's got the whatever that extra thing is, the intangible thing you need to get him over the hill, which we all saw and knew he's got, but it's translated clearly. Brad David, do you like watching games played in the snow? I don't, Brad. I know some people will say, "Oh, this is football weather." I'm like, no, it's not. That's Iditarod weather. Football weather is grass and dry, and I don't want elements to affect the game. And maybe that's just an inherent bias from watching a team that was a great offensive team that played in a dome be affected by playing outdoors in cold weather. Larry Garner, good morning. Brad, do you like the Bengals' white uniforms? Brad, I think they're not terrible. I think they need a little more orange accent on them. If you had a little more orange accent to break up the just white and black, I'm not saying a lot, just subtle orange throughout, I think would make it much better. Eric Waterwater, Morning Scone Series question. How many other baseball programs would have 1,000 people at a first pitch banquet? Like, literally none. That's the point. Like, literally none. I mean, I don't know if anybody else does it, Eric. Certainly not to that degree. Reed Rule, good morning. Pat Huseman, Matt, can you explain the AFC seeding solution from the canceled game? I'm not trying to favor the Bengals despite what happened to an injury. I'm trying to figure out how the NFL thought seeding was fair. Well, yeah, I mean, the game was declared a no contest. I don't understand what the question is. Because the Chiefs were 13-3 and the Bengals were 12-4, right? Or I'm sorry, the Chiefs were 14-3, obviously, and the Bengals were 12-4. So the Chiefs had the advantage in the loss column either way. So even if Cincinnati had beaten Buffalo, they still would have been behind Kansas City. There was no way. Once Kansas City won in Week 18, there was no way mathematically for Cincinnati to overtake Kansas City. But had Buffalo beaten Cincinnati in that game on Monday Night Football, then Buffalo and Kansas City each would have been 14-3, and wait, did they? And they didn't play, correct? They did play. They did play, and Buffalo beat Kansas City. So they would have had a head-to-head on them. So Buffalo beaten Cincinnati, and Buffalo and Kansas City each ended up 14-3, Buffalo would have hosted the AFC Championship game. So because that game was a no contest, they decided if those two teams played, they would have made it a neutral site. But Cincinnati could not have passed Kansas City once Kansas City won in Week 18. The Midwest Tribe already started hearing the excuses here in Missouri. If the Bengals win next Sunday, it's because Mahomes isn't 100%. Well, that'll be part of it. I mean, Kansas City is certainly going to be disadvantaged, but that doesn't mean they would have won anyway. Please smash that like button if you would. I got about 10 minutes left. Ryan Pike. As I was in the Walker Howard train, I've been saying he's going to lead us to a home playoff game in the first year of expansion. Okay. Well, that's not going to happen anymore. Trivia Carter, Matt, what did you do to my E-Rock? I didn't do anything. What are you talking about? What did you do? I've been taking care of her for 2 weeks, what I've been doing, Trivia. I've been a good husband. I've been taking care of everything. Been taking care of Drew, been taking care of all of his medicines, everything. I mean, she's just been on the couch out. The problem, Trivia, is E-Rock don't take care of herself. I tried to tell her as soon as her throat started hurting, go to the doctor. She waited 3-4 days. Finally, we got so bad she had to go. Like, we'd have been over this already. I'm just saying, man. Jared, did she tell you the same thing? Jared Esprit, Tim Gotro, Keith H., good morning. Great kicks at the first pitch banquet. Yeah, I had my purple and gold Jordan 1s on yesterday. So, for those that are the cynical of you, yes, they are technically Laker shoes, and I don't care. Make of them what you will. And I made them LSU shoes, as do many LSU fans, actually. So, show you what I got today. I'm excited about these. These were a Ruckus exclusive. I love them. Look at the brown, cocoa brown with the brown plaid, brown and tan plaid on the back. I love it. Look, some G-Nikes. Get to stomping on my Earthos ones. What y'all think about that? All right. Let's see. Jason Horn, fancy kicks last night. Thank you, sir. Mark Vitanovich, what's going on? Bubba Smith, good morning. Matthew Garner, can scholarship restrictions be offset with NIL? So, Matthew, yes. In baseball is what I'm assuming you're talking about. And Jay Johnson actually did tell a story on the Rosters to Riches podcast about how a player last year who got NIL money told him, hey, take my scholarship money and give it to someone else, give us a better chance to win. So he didn't disclose the player, but yes, I think that's a thing that can happen in a sport like baseball, absolutely. Because baseball, for those who don't know, is you have 11.7 scholarships to divide among 35 players. So nobody is on a full scholarship in baseball. Leon Williams, Lucy B, good morning. Bailey C, the universe wouldn't let us have Sean and Brian Kelly at the same time. Hey, man, but in fairness, Bailey C, we had some really good teams with LSU. Look, 2011, the Saints were 13-3. It was the best Saints team ever. And LSU went 13-0. And both seasons lost and finished in bitter disappointment. But you had some good runs with Sean Payton here and LSU at the same time. Scott Loom 12, LSU baseball uniforms do have piping on the pants. I noticed that. You couldn't tell on the shot that they had. They brought the piping back last year on the pants, which I'm glad they did. But I still think it needs it on the jerseys. Leon Williams, I know Dak is making mistakes, but it's obvious Lamb is his only wide receiver. Every team left in the playoffs had a better wide receiver except for the Giants. I'm by no stretch Cowboys fan, but give the man some help. That and the offensive line, I'd say as well. But Dak's interceptions this year were concerning. And sure, they asked him to do more behind an offensive line that's dismantling a bit, and as you mentioned, without a really deep wide receiving core. But quarterback's still going to shoulder the lion's share of the blame. You get the credit, you get the blame. Let's see. Jesse Post, Matt, those kicks are tizite. It's amazing. You wouldn't believe you probably would believe how many people yesterday at First Pitch Banquet stopped me to talk about my shoes. I was wearing purple and gold Jordan 1s. Yeah, bro. People notice your feet, man. I got out the car. My dad and I went together. Got out the car, and Pete Bush was parked right next to us. So if you don't know Pete played at LSU in the 80s. Pete got out the car right next to us, walking. He goes, man, like shoes. First thing he said. People notice your shoes, man. Jacob Hibbard, how confident are you that this staff can create a downfield passing attack that maximizes our wide receiver talent? Going 2 to 3 tight ends also seems odd given our wide receiver talent. So, Jacob, you got to purge the idea out of your mind about 2 to 3 tight ends. Because they want to run the ball and sometimes set up the downfield passing game as well. I think in your mind, you're just thinking, why aren't we taking deep shots? And that's fine. But the percentage at which deep shots hit is still minor, and you have to pick your spots to take them. Everyone knows we'd like to see Jaden be a little more aggressive with those. And I think he'll get there. But I don't think it's necessarily the coaches creating a downfield passing attack. I mean, you saw Brian Kelly at times this year getting frustrated. Like the Tennessee game, throw the ball. He was telling him, throw it. And then we saw him do it against Florida. So I think, Jacob, part of that is a fan narrative, man. Like you have maximized in your mind plays where you felt like he held onto the ball, and you've ignored the plays where they did take deep shots, whether they hit or not. You don't throw for 2,900 yards by accident, man. Let's see, Jesse Brown, morning, Matt. Started a new job today. New beginnings, hopefully more morning scone. All right, Jesse, good luck to you, man. Good luck in the new gig. Hope it brings you lots of happiness and great things here in 2023. Please smash that like button if you're with us here on YouTube. We appreciate that. As always, please subscribe up to the channel if you're new. Facebook, please like the Matt Moscona page. We always appreciate that. Share this post. Love telling you about our great sponsors here on Morning Scone. Brock's been with us forever. If you need an orthopedics, go to Brock. They're the best. brortho.com, brortho.com. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Hudco's pinned in the chat. Restored Motions, if you have pain, book a session with Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. And ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Last night, First Pitch Banquet, ProCharge was a sponsor and had a table, which is why Terrio invited me to sit at the ProCharge table. So that's why my dad and I were there last night. So fun night for sure. Okay, couple more. Oh, I got about 2 minutes. Let's see. Sean Carter, how did you like Joe Burrow's comments about refunding the Bills? Yeah, they better get those refunds for the tickets that have been pre-sold for the game in Atlanta. Matt, what's your take on LSU hiring Coach O as defensive analyst? I like it. Hopefully they'll stop him from going to all these other schools like we see in this past year. Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to happen, Brian. Thomas Spencer, Matt, hope you have a great Monday. And I was told Coach O probably is going to spend another year out of coaching. I think he wants to be a head coach again, but not at a lower level. My understanding, he could change his mind, but and if you're just sitting there waiting on that Power 5 coaching opportunity again, I don't think that's coming. Let's see, Thomas Spencer, Matt, hope you have a great Monday. Headed to Virginia. Oh, I'm sorry, VA. The VA ER. Having tachycardia. Heart rate's been over 150 for a few hours. Med's not helping. Sorry to hear that, Thomas. Hey, man, we'll say some prayers for you this morning. Everybody, if you could, just take a quick second. I know our Morning Scone people here are great people in a great community. So if you would take a quick second and say a prayer for Thomas. Man, we'll be lifting you up today, Thomas. And please keep us posted, man. Let's see. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Sean Gasser, Bengals hammering the Bills was the most satisfying win since LSU beat Bama in November. Richard Kahn, are you buying kicks from a specific place? If you're going to go brick and mortar, Baton Rouge Lafayette, hit up Ruckus. They're sponsoring Kick Rocks now, and I'll tell you candidly, like I bought these at Ruckus, and I went to all the places, of all the shoe stores I've been to in the last month, by far the friendliest, most helpful staff, great selection. That, and also I'm just like I've ordered a bunch on the Nike app as well, stuff like that. When drops come and stuff like that. Ryan Amanda Guidry. All right, I think we're done. Oh, it is 8:01. I gotta go. Okay, y'all have an awesome day. We'll get you LSU Daily a bit later. Record a new episode of Rosters to Riches today and AFR 3. All right, y'all have an awesome day. We'll see you. Peace.